Hello, I'm James Yardley, and today I'm joined by Bryn Jones, the elite rated manager of the Rathbone Ethical Bond Fund. Hello, Bryn.
Hi, how you doing? You good?
Very good, thanks. Bryn, we saw a lot of bonds issued last year by companies seeking to survive during lockdown. Did you find many opportunities? Were there lots of bonds which meet your requirements?
Yeah, a lot of businesses use the opportunity of falling yields actually and spread tightening to issue debt while they could to extend maturities. We saw a lot of companies actually taking out higher coupon debt as well and issuing longer dated, shorter coupon or lower coupon, longer dated assets. And obviously businesses that might have been struggling that needed capital. We did get involved in some new issues last year. In particular, we were looking in sort of more in the financial space where we felt that there wasn't a financial crisis per se, and that the valuations that had been made quite attractive by the sort of blowout and spreads around.
And the fund does have a big weight in financials. Why do you like this sector so much? Are there not other opportunities elsewhere as well?
Well, the UK market, it's a UK fund. UK market's driven, predominantly by the financial services industry. It's our biggest industry in the UK. And so therefore, the index would have a bigger exposure to it. But in particular, we quite like the subordinated insurance space where we found a lot of value, but also legacy bank paper. So this is a lot of old paper, which was issued many years ago before new regulation came in, where a lot of this sort of bank paper is no longer going to be fit for purpose under new regulations. So they will have to tender or exchange this debt at attractive terms to us as investors. So that makes a lot of sense. Obviously we avoid a lot of industry. We avoid businesses which are damaging the environment. So, sort of manufacturing and cars and mining. And we avoid tobaccos and alcohol and companies that are involved in pornography, so some of the media companies. And so you can tend to see that we do sort of have a natural bias towards financials. But in particular, what we focused on more recently within the financials is lending to or trying to lend to more businesses that are more sustainable. So one of the big projects we went through over the last few years is looking at fossil fuel financing and only investing in banks with fossil fuel financing with less than 5% of their total assets.
And we've seen lots of new types of ethical bonds and things. We've got green bonds and blue bonds, I think, and social bonds as well. Where are you seeing the most growth at the moment?
The bond market in this area has grown significantly. We've seen a big rise in issuance, compared to H1 last year. We've more than doubled where we were in 2020. There's been a lot of sustainability-linked bonds, sustainable bonds, as well as green bonds. So the growth of the bond market has grown. There's also a lot of social bonds, in particular, coming out of the US, where the proceeds are used to sort of better society or gender equality and social equality. And so we're seeing it in all areas of investment. And, we've been exploiting some of those ourselves by investing in some businesses in Europe, in the US and in the UK that are involved in both renewable and sort of social investing.
And we've recently seen the UK issue their first green gilts. Was that something you got involved with, or is the yield just too low for that?
Yeah, we did. So the ethical bond fund's never been able to invest in the gilt market due to the nature of government lending. They use money for nuclear power and for obviously weapons, as we have an army. We were involved in the consultation process with the green gilts quite early on, and I've been a big advocate for green gilts for over a decade at the DMO meetings. And so we were really, really keen to see them issued. And of course, they've gone quite some way to providing sustainability. Some questions over blue hydrogen from some of our competitors, but in general, it looks like they've done what we've asked for. No nuclear power is one thing that we were looking for. In terms of the gilt issuance, it's on the 21st of September, and the deal went extremely well. It's over 100 billion of demand for a 10 billion deal. One of the biggest demands for a syndication deal in the history of government debt markets on a 10 times basis. and one of the biggest oversubscriptions for a green deal. And immediately we've seen the green bonds trade at a 2.5 basis point greenium. And so we expect the DMO to issue another 5 billion by the end of this year.
And social housing is being quite topical at the moment with the recent rise in national insurance and the need to reform social care. Is that an area where you're seeing lots of opportunities?
Well, social housing is an area we've been investing in for years. It fits into our Anthropocene thesis. Humans having a bigger impact on the climate, and there's going to be more people on the planet. Where do we house? Not only where do we house people that are not fortunate enough to have their own homes, but also affordable homes as well. Where do we put key workers in? How important the fire brigade, the police, the NHS are, and with lower salaries. And there's a huge requirement to make sure these people are housed in big cities and urban places. So we've been investing in this area for a number of years, and the opportunities continue to grow in this space. And we continue to invest in it.
Now that we've got green gilts, would you like to see other types of gilts in the future, which are sort of targeted to some of these specific areas that you're talking about, like things like the housing issue, for example?
Yeah, I mean, it was attempted by the government a few years ago through things like PFI contracts and stuff, which didn't go down too well. And trying to get sort of the private sector to take some of the weight in that. It'd be interesting to see if they could. Of course, in the US, you get municipality bonds, invested in education and police and state type investing. It'd be interesting to see. Whether they can do that or not is another matter. There are some key areas that would need significant investment, and for example, hospitals and other ideas that where lending, borrowing could provide a good investment backdrop. So we're keen to see that, but I think it's probably a way down the track at the moment.
Bryn, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for your time.
And if you'd like to learn more about the Rathbone Ethical Bond Fund, please visit fundcalibre.com.